Good morning, everybody. This is Judith A. Cope. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. So, I took a very quick trip to visit my dear, dear friend, one of them anyway, one of my closest and oldest friends, and man, I'm not tired. Tired isn't really the word. It didn't bother me. The drive didn't bother me. I did get frustrated with traffic, though. I mean, I don't understand how people live in cities where you have to sit for 30, 40 minutes every day in traffic. Like, I don't understand that. And for the first time, St. Louis has traffic, but for the first time, it's like, oh, okay, maybe I don't mind living in a city that's not really a hot spot, because from the drive to St. Louis to Atlanta, you got to deal with Nashville and actual Atlanta traffic. That was the longest last hour of a car trip I've ever taken. There's my yawn that I'm not going to edit out. Sorry. I have a yawn. I don't understand that. I need to look that up. But anyway, I've been awake for like an hour and I haven't yawned. But once I get on this podcast, it's like, oh, I'm so comfortable. Anyway, so yesterday I got stuck coming back in Nashville traffic. So you can time the trip to either miss Nashville traffic and get stuck in Atlanta traffic, or plan for Atlanta traffic, but then you get stuck in Nashville traffic. And literally, it was just like 30 to 40 minutes of being stuck, just sitting there. And that was Nashville yesterday morning. And then when I arrived in Atlanta on Monday evening, it just took forever to finish the last 2 hours of that. There were multiple wrecks in Atlanta. As soon as I crossed into Georgia, there was a wreck. And then the closer I got to Atlanta, we got rerouted off the highway. There was another wreck. It's like, what the hell? And the people drive crazy in the South. Although when I got to St. Louis, they were replicating some of it. But, I have never experienced so much chaotic speeding. I mean, I do remember when me and my mom drove to Boston, there was a point when you get into like Connecticut, all of a sudden everybody's driving as crazy and fast as they possibly can. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to speed up. So there were just stretches along this trip where, I had to go at least 90 to just stay out of people's way. It was insane. And, everybody's dodging and weaving in and out. It was just insane. I mean, I understand that people are in a hurry or whatever, but man, I've never seen 18-wheelers driving like that. Because I wasn't just talking about the cars. I saw people with haulers, pickup trucks with massive haulers. I saw 18-wheelers. I saw utility vehicles. All kinds of vehicles that are on the road were all driving like 80 to 90 miles an hour. It was unbelievable. And then when I drove back yesterday, it was raining and dark because I left and I just had a massive allergy attack. And I was like, I'm just going to leave now because I'm not going to fall back asleep. And so when I was driving out of Atlanta, oh, sorry, y'all. I'm just so comfortable on my podcast. So when I was leaving Atlanta, it was raining and they were still driving like that. So my tiredness wasn't physical. It was just a mental exhaustion from worrying if I was going to die in a fiery car crash. So there was a point when it was raining pretty heavy. I really couldn't see the road that great. And people would just zoom by me at like 90 miles an hour. There was construction. There's a considerable amount of construction in Georgia and Illinois. By the time I got to Illinois, it was sunny and daytime. But driving into the dark Georgia night with no lights, rain, and everybody just going as fast as they could. I was really stunned. I really was. And I'm like, how can they can't see much better than me? And why are they so comfortable going like 90 when there's construction out, there's darkness, there was rain? Anyway, I'm very glad I took the trip. The thing that really wore me out was the driving, though. Not the actual drive, but like the traffic in these places and the way they drive. I mean, I'm a defensive driver, so that was a lot. That was a lot. I see why they have accidents, because you're definitely going to run into somebody, or your reflexes are going to be slowed, because these, it's like, I'm about to get over here, but there's somebody else. And I hate that feeling of every time I turn around, there's a car up on me, or there's just a car there. I have probably become a country girl. I could live in the country at this point. I could live outside of a city with access to the city, but be in the country, because I am past wanting to drive like that. But my baby held up. I love my little black Audi. Have a little Q3. That thing, I'm going to get some work done on it. Definitely need to pay some attention to the brakes. But I already knew that, because I just left the dealer in January. But that car was a dream to drive. It's like floating down the road. Love that car. Although it sounds like I will not want a new car anytime soon, because the government approved that kill switch. I think our congressperson voted for that, which is ridiculous. I think the weird part of history that we're in right now is, you used to trust the government. I mean, I don't know anybody who fully trusted the government, but you used to think that some of the things they were doing were for your best interest, right? At least some of us did. And I don't know a good scenario where the government should be able to, or who's going to be in charge of shutting off your car? Just kill switches in cars is a bad idea to me. And it feels like everything is just about control. And they complain about China, but China's citizens at least have the best of everything, even though they're completely surveilled and controlled. They have, unless it's all propaganda, but people on YouTube and TikTok have just been for years saying how great their lives are. Like, yeah, we're completely controlled and surveilled, but we have top of the line of everything. They have speed rail. They have all these conveniences. So it's like, yeah, we're controlled, but our life is great. Their rents aren't out of control. It's weird. And in America, we're completely following all of that, but they're not giving you a good experience. We're surveilled a lot, but we don't really get anything out of it. We pay all these taxes, and our roads are horrible. The infrastructure is failing. We don't have high speed. It's 2026 and you cannot get a bullet train from St. Louis to Kansas City or St. Louis to Chicago. Like, that's insane to me. There's no innovation. And these billionaires are so proud of themselves. And I feel like a conspiracy theory, because when I was visiting my very dear friend, I was sitting in a room with her and one of her other close friends and her son, and I'm like, man, I sound like a conspiracy theorist, a tinfoil hat, because I'm sitting here thinking, I was talking about, somehow Beyonce came up, and I was like, don't you guys think it's weird? Look at this song. The song was like Survivor. So that's a 26-year-old song. She's been around 30 years, and she's out here touring like she's just broke, like she's a new artist. So I'm like, why is she on tour all the time? She's a legacy artist at this point. She out here touring like she got gambling debts or something. Like, does Jay-Z take all her money? I don't understand. And so they're looking at me like, like it never occurred to them, like, maybe that is weird. It is weird. It's strange. She should be on permanent residence somewhere. She could do a permanent residency in Vegas and everybody would go. Why are you touring the country? You're a mother of 3 in your mid to late 40s. When do you slow down? You've been doing this for 30 years. So I'm saying that is weird. Put me on the record. And why is Jay-Z with you? Why would Jay-Z be in St. Louis on a Wednesday with Beyonce on tour? That's strange. I don't care what anybody says. They are working she's working like, she got to pay. She owes somebody some money because he ain't selling no records anymore. And, now that there's an Epstein link, who knows what that's going to be about. Listen, I think people have a hard time embracing. And anyway, to go back to that, I did feel like a conspiracy theorist. And maybe I am. But you cannot deny the evil that's going on. The only thing you can do is be apathetic. And if you sit around watching CNN all day, you are not getting the real news. That is not good news. It's not authentic. They are bought and sold. Networks are bought and sold. I've told you guys this. This is from an insider. The reason why the evening news is full of stories that will not talk about Big Pharma is because Big Pharma has paid for all the commercials, which is bribery, so that they won't point out that there was a opioid crisis from medications. Nobody was doing a story on that because those same medications were being advertised to you through the news. I mean, somewhere along the line, things have gotten completely and entirely corrupted. I proffered at this very fun gathering that instead of worrying about Y2K being a computer event, I think it was a spiritual event. I feel like they had us focused on the computers, but the virus was in humanity, and it got unleashed. And I'm saying all that to say, my next big conspiracy, which I'm starting to think might be true, I've heard this on and off for years, that we never really landed on the moon, that America needed a morale booster, and there was a studio in Hollywood that is well known to be the place where they faked the moon landing. And they want to tell us who Eyes Wide Shut director Stanley Kubrick directed it, the fake moon landing. And I want to say that might be true, because why haven't we gone back? And why are Elon Musk and Bezos so obsessed with getting into space and getting on the moon and getting on Mars? If we've already been to the moon, why are they obsessed with acting like they would be the first company or the first group of people to actually be successful in doing it? So yeah, Google it. There are plenty of people who feel like they have the receipts that America didn't really land on the moon, that it was just a morale booster because the country was in the doldrums and this was important to them to lift people's spirits as a point of pride. Now, of course, I think I was just about to be born, so I don't know. I didn't watch it. But the way things are unraveling right now, I mean, it's a possibility, because it's very un-American to not go back again. If we did it once, it's very American to be like, we're about to do that shit again. And what kind of bargain did you have to make with Russia to keep your secret? Because they figured it out by now. If that's the truth, that they didn't really go, other countries have figured it out by now. And, maybe that's why they had to hold the secret. I don't know. There's so much stuff that's just been bullshit. I can buy that. And I think that's where we are as a country, as a world right now, is people are starting to see lies, and it's regular people, average people. I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm starting to see that there are a lot of people who love to lie. There are people who have no business being in the positions that they're in, but they're complete and absolute liars. So they've managed to carve a space for themselves. And I can see that in my life. And I'm not living some rich and famous life, at least not yet. You know, I deal with regular people. I worked in county government. You can't get more local than that. And it's like, wow, people are just, I've seen people just lie almost to the point where it's pathological. Like, maybe they don't know how to tell the truth. They're like reptilian because their brain just goes to the lie. And you know, the hardest part about lying, especially at a certain age, is you can't remember all of them. You know, you can't remember all the lies you've told because you just lie. You're a liar. So I'm beginning to feel like that's where we are in history now, where people are waking up, regular people like me, because I was brainwashed like everybody. Oh, the Democrats have the best. The Democrats don't have our best interest at heart. You want to know how I know? Because shit hasn't changed. You're struggling just as much now as you were in 2008. They made a whole bunch of promises and nothing has changed. And it's the same with the Republicans. They used to be the moralistic ones. Now they don't have any virtue. It's like, what is going on? People are greedier than ever. People are angry. And I'm telling you, sitting in that traffic like that, no wonder people are all fucked up. You gotta sit in traffic 40 minutes every day to and from work. No wonder people are ready to, like, that's why everybody wants a remote job. And this is what I don't understand. Whoever the powers that be are, they have worked people to the point of exhaustion, and they're still standing with their hands out. You know, you got people who are stretched thin. They're running kids around, pick kids up from school, take them to practices, taking them to tutors. They have to go to work. They're stuck in traffic on the way to work. They're stuck in traffic on the way home from work. They have to go to the doctor occasionally. They have to pick up mom and take her someplace. They have to go and check on Uncle so-and-so. He fell. He's in the hospital. No one else can make. Like, people are stretched to the limits just in their regular lives on a daily basis, you know? And it's like, nobody seems to be concerned about the people right now. Everything is just the subjugation gene, where I'm the boss and you're going to do what I say. I'm going to walk through my office and I'm going to see you sitting there working, and all will be well with the world. You're here for 8 hours. We're going to pay you this little bit of money and you get a little lunch. And, you know, and I excel in systems. I excel in structure. So you're going to get the best of me in a structured work environment. But I'm a creative, so I don't necessarily want to be sitting in an office where you can see me doing my work. I will not thrive in that way. You will see my work and you will see the results, but just trying to box me into a corner to sit still, it never worked for me. That was really miserable in my 20s because those are the kind of jobs I could get. You know, I was inexperienced. I had a film degree and I wanted to make movies, but there was just no obvious way to do that. You know, I was talking to another really good friend yesterday, and we both were in LA in our 20s, and she managed to stick around longer than me. But I was just like, it never dawned on me, and I've said this many times on the podcast, it never dawned on me that the film business was so transactional, and that it was really going to be like, oh, you know, I never thought it was not a meritocracy, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I just thought, this is a good script. People will want to work with me. I'm smart. I'm talented. And nothing ever really took off. And then it dawned on me later after I'm hearing these Me Too stories, like, oh, I never even thought about, you know, hey, here's my vagina or my mouth. Will you read my script? Like, that's nuts. Who would do that? But a lot of people have done that. That's what I'm saying. I've deduced a long time ago that many people who were very, very talented, who returned home, and you judged them, they knew they had other options. Why would you be abused unless you were desperate. And that's where we are with people who got sucked up into all of this scandal. And you're going to hear more names. But they were vulnerable to be a part of this because they were desperately poor and desperate to not go back to being poor or go back into their lives. Puffy will tell you that. Puffy was willing to do anything to be successful. And we've seen that. He did do that. And that documentary on Netflix is good, but I think that's just the first wave. They really didn't go that deep into his transactions early to get his own record label. You know, you don't get your own record label just because you can dance a little bit. Because Puff can't rap. He's not. Is he a great producer? I don't know. He had a team of people that helped him, and I know he charged top dollar to say, take that, and all that kind of stuff. And he was going to dance all in the video. But I don't know. Is he super talented? I don't think so. Not talented enough to get his own fucking record label. And what they didn't point out to you is that I believe Clive Davis said, well, we can't have two. So if I give you your own record label, that's the end of Uptown Records. And that's where he started with his mentor being Andre Harrell. And why did that happen? Did he take the label? Did he demand that Uptown go away so he could have Bad Boy? You see what I'm saying? He's vengeful like that. So I'm saying it didn't go deep enough into the psychology of people who are too desperate to go back to being not famous, to being poor, to having to get a regular job. Like, these people are addicted to never going back. And you can put Jay-Z in there. And in a way, you could put Beyonce in there. Because while she wasn't poor, her family was regular. And these people don't want to be regular. They want to be spectacular. And they want to have money and wealth. And they figure out how to do a transaction to get that. That's the only difference. Some of these people are talented, yes, but most of them just will do things that you wouldn't do. And that should scare the bejesus out of all of us. And that's how we arrive at Jeffrey Epstein and his ability to exploit people, move people. Because when you listen to Jeffrey Epstein, it's not like he's this great orator. You know, he's not Dr. King or nothing. Like, he has that thick accent, the New York accent, the working class accent. He's not particularly engaging. You know, he's a sycophant. He sucks up to these people and gets their money. And Les Wexner, I lived in Columbus. Les Wexner's name is all over Ohio State, all over Columbus. And I'm speculating that I don't think Mr. Wexner was straight. I think Jeffrey knew that, exploited that, and probably caught him doing something on video that would be bad. And that's how he got his power of attorney over Wexner's wealth. I'm not sure that they were partners. I think there was some extortion. I really do. And men of that age, deeply closeted, allegedly, with your name all over a city and all over your businesses that you desperately want to see be successful. Yeah, that's what I think went on there. I could be wrong. I wasn't there. I don't know these people, and I'm alleging things, but I feel like that's really more what it was. Because now Wexner is like trying to say that he was exploited by Jeffrey. So you do the math. It's not great. It's not great because if you've noticed, I've said the word desperate. And that is how you get people. You're only as safe as your secrets. Yeah. Well, I'm happy to be back. Happy Thursday, February the 12th. Please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for listening. The support for this podcast is truly mind-blowing to me. And I enjoy doing it. And if you like this podcast, go ahead and give us 5 stars. Thank you to all the new Spotify followers. go ahead and just like us, subscribe, give us great reviews. You can do that also on Apple. A lot of you guys listen through a source that they can't tell me the analytics for. So wherever you listen, I thank you and I appreciate you, But our job here is to keep you informed in a way that you might not be informed in the mainstream media. Because like I'm telling you, if you're sitting home watching TV news all day, you are not getting anywhere close to the truth. So stay awake. And I mean awake. We all need to be focused on what's going on, because in spiritual warfare, they want your soul and your mind. And they don't care if you destroy your body. They don't care if you're sick. In fact, they prefer you to be sick so they can brainwash you more. I know, I sound like I wear a tinfoil hat. I assure you I don't. That's just where we are in the world, and I want you safe. Okay? Take care. Love you. Bye.